Donald Trump has revived this idea of him wanting to be king. This afternoon, he spent most of the afternoon on Truth Social ranting about a number of things, but one stuck out in particular: an AI generated image of him as king with a crown, sitting on a throne with an eagle overhead, and three Democratic senators kneeling at his feet: Senator Adam Schiff, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Chuck Schumer. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, declared essentially by posting this that he wants to be the king that Democrats kneel to. Now, I bring this up tonight in this update not because this is a major breaking news story. It's not. Donald Trump has been referring himself to a king for a long time, despite telling reporters he is anything but. I bring it up because imagine if President Biden or President Obama or President Bush, any other president, or really any other member of Congress posted an image of themselves wearing a crown, sitting on a throne, with members of the opposing party kneeling at their feet. The media would be outraged, and justifiably so. And so I'm bringing this to bring the attention, the hypocrisy that we are seeing right now in the media. And it's why I need your help to get this out. So like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work and to also get this everywhere. So let's look at this AI generated image. This is what the president of the United States posted on his Truth Social. He kind of looks like Thanos from the movies. Essentially, underneath him is Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren's in the center, and Adam Schiff is to his right. Now, looking at this, a couple things stand out. Number one, obviously, he's in a crown. He's sitting like a king on his throne, and he has Democrats kneeling before him. But the other thing is, someone had to have thought of this to make an AI-generated image of this, and then the president of the United States had to search, find it on his feed, and repost it. If President Biden reposted this and declared himself king over Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Senator Josh Hawley, and Senator Ted Cruz, there would be mass outrage on Fox News day and night, and honestly, justifiably so. Now, when he wasn't declaring himself king, he was reposting messages like this, essentially saying that Democratic lawmakers should be indicted under 18 U.S. Code Section 2387 for telling the United States military to ignore the commander in chief. As you can see, another one here: get all those traitors, sons of, for sedition at the very least. Those pompous traitors, communists, should be impeached and prosecuted. This is what he's actively reposting. And as a result of these reposts tonight, according to CNN, threats against Democratic lawmakers are surging once again. These lawmakers have received thousands of death threats over the past week, ever since Donald Trump declared that they should be tried and hung, executed, for simply saying that military service members should not follow illegal orders. And at the same time, Donald Trump is declaring that the Republican Party is as united as ever before. He said that the Republican Party has never been as united as it is right now. Other than Rand Paul Jr. referring to Thomas Massey, Marjorie Trader Brown, and a couple of other lowlifes, and other than the fact that that many want the election-threatening filibuster terminated and some don't, there is great spirit and cohesion. Plus, the Republican Party is much bigger than it was before. And, well, he's probably upset because Rand Paul essentially called him out for his rhetoric over the past several days.
You know, everybody knows that the president is famous for his unfiltered social media. But if you take at face value the idea that calling your opponents traitors and then specifically saying that it warrants the death penalty is reckless, inappropriate, irresponsible. There are a number of other ways to describe it, but it's not something that is helping the country heal wounds. I think it stirs things up, and really, I think we can do better.
Reckless, irresponsible, doesn't actually help the country heal wounds. I mean, that's kind of what we've been hearing right now for a long time from Democratic lawmakers. But I will say this: I think it's interesting that Donald Trump is declaring himself a king. And remember his meeting with Zohran Mamdani in the Oval Office? He essentially embraced the fascism moniker. Well, today Zohran was on Meet the Press, and he was asked about whether he still believes the president of the United States is a fascist. I want you to watch what he said.
Be the ones to do so.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer. Then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay. You can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
I think that some of your supporters would be curious to know. You say you stand by your past statements that, yes, he's a threat to the democracy. How do you square working with someone who you still think is a threat to the democracy?
I think working for the people of New York City demands that you work with everyone and anyone, and that you always look to find those areas of agreement while not overlooking the places of disagreement. And I think this was something that came up in our meeting. We spoke about immigration. We spoke about the fact that in New York City, we have sanctuary city policies that allow for the city to work with the federal government on around 170 serious crimes.
I think it's pretty interesting that Zohran Mamdani is now going on Meet the Press, and he's essentially saying, yeah, this dude's a fascist. This dude is a despot. After essentially reaffirming his remarks in the past, and Donald Trump seemingly embracing the fascist moniker in the Oval Office. And yet, at the same time, I guarantee you, if Senator Alyssa Slotkin called Donald Trump a fascist on Twitter today, he would call for her execution again and say that she is essentially the reason why Charlie Kirk was murdered, that type of language, that fascism language, was the reason why Charlie Kirk was murdered. It really, I mean, what we're seeing in our nation right now is a very dangerous shift down a very dangerous road. And tonight, I wanted to highlight how a president of the United States believes that he is king, how Democrat senators should kneel before him, and how he continues to threaten to prosecute and arrest those who disagree with him. All the while, those who disagree with him are getting threats, death threats, threats to their home, bomb threats, and they continue to escalate every time the president of the United States turns his political machine against them. I will continue to provide you updates into the morning, so make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.